Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and this is my channel all about cross stitch. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell me what you're working on. What are you excited to stitch on this autumn season? And come with me while I talk about my whips haul, because it was my birthday, September 27th, and hopefully you join me in stitching something in Victorian vibes. So it could have been like a sampler that was it could be like a historic sampler that somebody stitched between about the 1870s to Victorian / Gilded Age, so about 1870s to about 1910ish for those eras, or something with, could be fancy ladies, it could be, anything with those sort of vibes. Hopefully you guys, had fun stitching something like that. So yes, it was my birthday. We, of course, have our co-host Cam here with us. She heard me talking and she says, well, Mom, you can't talk without me beside your side because you're always paying attention to me. But, yeah, so I do have a haul. I will say that, this is, for the last 3 days, I have had a migraine. So the brain isn't braining very well. Cam, that's enough. Sit down. So hopefully I can get through all this without screwing up a bunch of stuff or forgetting a bunch of things. But if I do, forgive me for that, please. I'm hoping it stays away today. It's not always guaranteed. But I also created something. It looks like complete and utter crap, but it's not bad for a first try. And considering I haven't actually sewn anything in years, I'm pretty happy with that. But anyways, let's get into the whips, because we'll do it like I always do. Whips, haul, and then life update. So those that want to just watch the whips can just watch the whips. Those who want to watch the whips and haul can do that. And those that want to watch the whole thing can do that, because sometimes we don't have time to watch the whole thing, and sometimes we are only interested in certain things, and that's okay too. So let's get into the whips. So I only stitched on 3 projects and I finished one, so that will be, I gotta look at my stash of frames to see if I can find one that fits that, and I will show you guys my finish first. And this is Mirabilia Ophelia, and this is where you guys saw it last time, so a little over 2 weeks ago. And this is it all done. It's finished, fully beaded, backstitched, everything's finished with it, and it's ready to gift my friend Coral. It was supposed to be her birthday present last year, but I didn't realize how exactly, like, this is almost a full coverage Mirabilia. It has so much stitching in it. But I finished it now, so a little over a year, because I believe I started it in like August of last year. When did I start this? I can look that up. Yeah, August 4th of 2024 is when I started it, and I finished it September 22nd of 2025. So I'm not sure why my hair was just like going in my face, but I would prefer not to have hair in my mouth. But yeah, so a little over a year, a month, and some days that I was able to finish this one, and it is done and ready to be gifted to her for her birthday. So she just wants sort of like a wooden frame, and I have a bunch of frames. My sister Christy goes to a bunch of thrift stores all the time, and she knows when all the sales and stuff are going on. So a lot of times, like, she'll pick up these massive frames, certain days of the week or whatever, they'll have different sales or stuff going on, and she knows when. And, like, she can pick them up for, like, 39 cents. So she brings me a giant hoard of them. She just recently, I think, beginning of this week or end of last week, she brought me another giant stash of these different frames. So I'm going to go through them and see if I can find one that will fit with this that Coral requested. She doesn't care if it matches. She doesn't really want it to match the project. She just sort of wants a wooden frame. And I know I have a bunch of them back there, but will it fit this properly? We will see. So that is that one. Oh, and that one is stitched on 28 count, hand dyed by me. It is stitched 2/2, except for the skin's done 1/1. And I put, for a total this month, 14,849 stitches in it. So that means total for this year was 18,282 stitches that I put in there. But let me see if I can find her. That's not the one I want. I'm not sure why that's sticking, but it is. They're all sticking like that. Odd. What did I do to it? Oh, I took the tabs off. So a little over, what did I say? That would be 28,700 and some stitches. Yeah. Because the year before I put 10,563 and this year I put 18,282 stitches in her. So that is Ophelia. And then the next one I worked on is Indian Maiden by Joan Elliot. And you can get it, and now I'm going to have a frog in my throat. You can get the pattern from here. I think she also has, I think you can get the pattern for this without this book, but I think it's under a different name. But it's not, I mean, if you really want that information, I could probably go digging for you and find it. But yeah, so this is Indian Maiden, and this is what she will look like when she is finished. And this is where you guys saw her last time. And this is where she is now. She is stitched on 32 count, if I remember right. Let me look. Yep, 32 count. I started her June 6th of 2025, and she is stitched 2 over 2, except for the skin is done 1 over 1. Get you guys up here nice and close. And of course, like, I don't understand why it does that. Ugh. I'll have to, like, fix the white balance on this camera because it's driving me nuts. But, yeah. And I put a total of 5,324 stitches in her this month. I received all the Krennic. So this entire, like, I'm not sure if it's a sun or a moon. I'll have to read the description of the thing. I think it's a moon, but I want to say it's a sun. But this is all Krennic. This whole entire thing is Krennic. And it takes a lot of Krennic to do this, but definitely works. I'm glad that I dyed it myself, and just barely gray, like just barely gray, just so that way, because this Krennic in here is white, but it has the darker edge, but just to give it not a white look, not a white background, I guess. But yeah, that is Indian Maiden, and this is she's all back stitched and beaded up there. All of it's done, all back stitched, all beaded, absolutely gorgeous. This is being done for my mother-in-law, hopefully for a Christmas present. So I'm going to be working on her like a mad woman the next 2 months, and hopefully I can have her finished and then like in a picture frame to give to her for Christmas. You guys know me. I can buckle down and get things done if I really, really, really want to. And as long as nothing else is screwing up and everything else is like smooth sailing. So hopefully I can get that done. And then the only other project I stitched on was my birthday start, which is by Dimensions. This is My Lady Chateau by Dimensions. Absolutely love this. And I've wanted this kit forever, but anytime it's out of print, so you have to go to the secondary market to get it. And anytime I've seen it, it was over $100, and I'm just not somebody that's going to spend that much money on something just because I don't know, I have a hard time spending money on myself. It sounds ridiculous, but I do. And but I ended up finding this, was it in August? I don't know, sometime over the summertime. I ended up finding this for 60 bucks, which is about what you pay for a kit anyways. So I bought it, and I got it. The one thing I did do is I switched out the fabric for this for a, the original fabric was, what was it, a 20 or 14 count, I believe. 14 count, where is it at? Right here. I think it tells me on this sucker. Let me No, I don't see it on here. Maybe it's on the front. 14 count ivory Ada, and I just did a 28 count ivory Ada. The only reason, like, I would stitch on the Ada, but the only reason why I switched it out is because Dimensions has a, they're known to not give you very much margins on the side, and I know I'm going to frame this piece, so I wanted extra margins there. And this is Robert LeBron artwork, it looks like. Is who did the artwork. But anyways, that's what it looks like. And I started it on my birthday. And I guess I never counted up how many stitches I did. 4 and 4 is 8, and 8 and 8 is 16. And then that would be 17. So 1,700, no, 1,000, yeah, 1,793 stitches is what I put on this. But, here's what it looks like. But here's the problem. I had all of this tree here, spot stitched, and I was doing this, while I had one of my migraines, and I don't know, I woke up the one day and I wasn't feeling too bad that day. Like that morning, I wasn't feeling too bad. By the end of the day, I was not in a good position whatsoever. And when I woke up that morning, I realized that I had stitched all of this green here in the wrong shade of green. And there was no way to leave it and fudge it because that there wasn't much of that thread, and it appears in a lot of other places on here. And it wouldn't have been enough to do all of that color in that same color. But, so I had to take it all out and redo it. So there's a lot less than what's saying, because eventually I got, like, my migraines continued, because that would have been, what is today? Wednesday. So it would have been Sunday that I got the migraine, and I woke up Monday morning, and that's whenever I realized that, like, okay, Brittany, no stitching and migrating at the same time. We know this, you make mistakes. And, I had to pull that all out, so I spent most of Monday pulling that all out, and then I stitched some of it, and then Monday and Tuesday I didn't stitch. So it must have been, okay, today's Wednesday, and I didn't stitch Tuesday, and I didn't stitch Monday. So it had to have been Friday, because what, my birthday was, what date was my birthday's the 27th. What day of the gosh darn week it was it? My birthday was Saturday, so I started it Saturday. Today is Thursday. Oh my Lord. I'm thinking today is Wednesday. That's why I think I'm getting all screwed up. So yeah, I didn't stitch all day Wednesday and didn't stitch all day Tuesday. So it was Sunday. So Sunday I didn't have a migraine. But so Saturday I stitched all the sky part. And then I started getting into some of this here. And then Sunday I just continued using the color I was using and stitched the rest of that tree in. And it must have been Sunday evening that I realized that was wrong. And I started pulling it out. Finished pulling it out Monday. And then I started putting all this stitching in Monday with the actual right color. Yeah, because today is Thursday. I am so messed up on what day of the gosh darn week it is because my brain has been hurting, but forgive me. So yeah, once I realized I made the mistakes, I had to pull this all out. And then by Monday evening, my brain was hurting so bad that I ended up getting sick over it. And it just continued on Tuesday and then Wednesday. And I actually, like, I have a headache right now. But I can deal with that. And I don't know if this is going to go and end up being super painful later. Or if it's just going to be fine. Later today, like, if it's finally going to give up and let me, you know, continue my life. or what it's going to do. But, like, I haven't put a single stitch in 2 days because I can't with my brain. But, that kit is stitched however like it's called for. And so I didn't even do this month's totals. So I said, oh, let me write all this stuff down for you guys. So I said, what was it? 1,793 stitches. But some of that got ripped out. And then, where is, use the calculator to make this faster. To see how many stitches we actually put in this month. So we put 14,849 in Ophelia. We stitched 3,649 on Maidens of the Season. 5,324 on Indian Maiden, and 1,793 on My Lady Chateau. And it goes here, which would be 25,600, and so 25,615 stitches is what I stitched for the month. And then as for our year total, it would be 213,187 stitches. And I gotta look and see what that is. So this would be, and that means we've had 16 starts total, 16 new starts for the year, and I've finished 8 projects so far this year. And I believe 7 out of those 8 have all been some sort of fancy lady. I think they're all Mirabilia now that I think about it. I don't know. We'll find that all out later. At the end of the year, my end of the year whip parade. Somebody else is... There's so much stuff going on right now. Oh, and then I dropped that. Oh well. All right. As for haul, which is not really haul, it's birthday presents. So, well, I'll tell you what else I made. So this is a project folder, and I used Velcro, and I made one. It's got flip it this way. It's got the zipper pockets on both sides. So it's got a pocket here, and then a pocket without the zipper on it. And I did that on both sides. And finished this all up, and I think it looks cute as heck. Don't look at the binding real bad. Everything else is fine. Just don't look at the binding. The binding is all janky, but it's on there, and it's going to hold it together. So that's the important part. But I saw these, and I wanted one, and then I saw how much the price of they were, because I was like, oh, these would work perfect for whenever I'm leaving and going somewhere. Because right now, like, I just throw my stuff in my project bag and go, and I'm always afraid that, like, my scissors or something are going to ruin it, which means I should probably just stick the scissors in a separate bag and then put it inside that bag. But I don't, because I'm a lunatic. But I should be doing that. But these will help. But this is too large for me. Way larger than what I need. So I'm going to cut this down to 14 inches, and probably this way only make it 10 inches folded in half, because that's about the size that I will need. So people got me some of the foam that goes in here, a bunch of fat quarters, like a lot of fat quarters to do these. I literally have enough to make 14 bags, or 14 project folders. So I'm going to start doing that. They bought me the Velcro. They bought me zippers. I'm just going to use white thread or cream thread, or if I have thread that'll match, whatever, I'll use that. But yeah, so I made that. Like I said, don't look at the binding. It looks like crap, but it's on there. and its functions. So that, I made that, and now we're going to go on to haul. So it was my birthday, which means everybody in my family knows I love stitching fancy ladies. There was 2 that I bought myself, which would be these 2, so I'll put those to the side. I'm going to double check and make sure there weren't any that other ones that I bought myself. No. Okay. So these are all Mirabilias that I was given. Some of them are out of print, some of them are not. And so we will go through them. And then the last 2, these 2, I bought myself from Stephanie from Cross Stitch Globe because they were on there, and I think one was fully kitted except for 1 bead, and the other one is an out of print chart that I've been looking for, and it was at a decent price, so I bought it. All right, so this one is not out of print. This is Tatiana, Queen of the Fairies, MD38. So I got this one, and if I do this one, I will probably not do her wings. That's simple. And then I forgot these had plastic on them, and I didn't take them out of their plastic because I never leave them in the plastic. And I get it out of the plastic, which is going to probably make a lot of bunch of noise for you guys, but I never leave them in plastic. This is Fairy Flora. This is MD7. This one is out of print. And when I stitch this, I think I'm going to leave the wings in this one because I actually do, I kind of like the wings in this one. Not that the other fairies don't have nice wings. I'm just not a big fairy person, okay? But yeah, this is MD7 Fairy Flora that I got, and it is out of print. Ida the Garden Fairy, MD41. I believe this one is out of print. I have to double check. I believe so. And when I stitch this one, I will stitch it without the wings. It's not that I don't like the wings. I'm just not a big fairy person. Okay? And then this one is out of print. I know that for a fact. This is the Queen Mermaid, MD57. And I was gifted this one. I'm hoping nobody spent a lot of money on these, because I know sometimes this Queen Mermaid can go for a ridiculous price. This one is in print. This is the Garden Muses, MD44. And I can't wait to stitch this one. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I just think it's beautiful. So I will be stitching that one. This one is also in print. This is Royal Holiday, MD78, or a Christmas Queen, whichever. Why does it keep doing that? It drives me nuts. Somebody screwed up settings again, and it's going to drive me insane. But anyways, so this is this one. This one also requires Whisper White thread. I don't stitch with it. Other people have stitched with it and says that it yellows over time. And I'm just not taking the risk of it yellowing over time. This one is also in print. This is MD102. This is Mediterranean Mermaid. At some point in time, I will stitch this one. And I don't know which direction I will stitch her in. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll stick a couple mermaids together. This one is also in print. And that is it for the gifts that I was given. I'm like double checking around here, make sure that I didn't forget any. So these are the 2 that I bought for myself from Stephanie from Cross Stitch Globe. This is Rosamond, MD181, and this one is the one that was almost fully kitted. It just had 1 bead missing, and I already have that bead. So I was just like, I think it was like $49 or something like that. So, and it would, it's over $35, so I would have got the free shipping anyways. So I was like, fully kitted and everything else. Like, yep. So don't be surprised if you see this start. Well, did it come with the threads? I don't think it came with the threads, but like with the beads and the kernick. Now that I think about it, I think it just had beads and thread, or beads and kernick, beads and specialty threads, because I know it had the Karen Water Lilies too. But I don't think it had the Demon Sea, if I remember right. I don't think so. And it didn't have fabric, which, no big deal. I dye my own fabric anyways. So, I got this one from her. And then, oh, this one's in plastic too. I never keep my stuff in plastic, but it all goes in a box. Okay. And this one is out of print. This is the Cottage Garden Fairy. This is MD63. And this one, I will probably stitch the wings, but I might make them more transparent instead of darker. Just so that way they sort of blend into the fabric a little more. And like, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep them the same. I don't know. But I just feel like the wings just don't, the color of them just, I don't know. I just don't like the way they sit on this for some reason. So I might change those. Who knows? But that is it. That's all the haul. Now, on to Life Update. It has been busy. As I said, it was my birthday. I had a good birthday. The girls, my parents took me out for breakfast that morning. My dad got me some flowers for my birthday. And so we got to, it was just them and I. So it was nice to be able to sit down and just have a conversation with just them and not have all my children and my husband or like my siblings. So it was nice to just spend time alone with them. And then, eventually everybody, once my husband woke up, they all came down and they gave me, some gifts. I didn't expect anything. They did buy me some shirts too, and they bought me, each a couple different patterns that I wanted. And I didn't know they were doing this. What they did was, inside my drawer where I keep like, because I guess they're not all fancy ladies in there, but they're mostly like fancy ladies. They're pretty much my Lavender and Lace, Nora Corbett, Mirabilia, Butternut Road. I don't think there's any As Told in the Garden in there. I'm not 100% sure. There might be. Bella Filipina is in there. In my sort of box with the fancy lady adjacent sort of things. You know, the designers that do that. I keep a list of like Mirabilia's, Bella Filipinas that like I have or I want, just so that way like I don't accidentally buy two of the same thing. So I have like lists in there of like everything, and like these are the ones I have, these ones that I don't have, and then when I buy one, like I cross it out on the I want page and fill it in on the I have page. So I guess at some point in time they went in there and they organized with everybody on like, oh, these are the ones they want. So they went hunting for them and they were able to find quite a few of them. So that was really cool. At Grandma Joanne's, she's been doing okay. Last week actually she was and like she had more energy last week. It was kind of crazy, but we got back more of testing results, and it's still not working. And I kind of said to her at this point, like, what's the point of continuing the chemo and all this treatment if it's not working? Kidney function is continuing to get lower and lower, and once she reaches stage 5, that's a wrap without dialysis. So I kind of was just like, like all this stuff can't be good for your kidneys. It's got to be making that situation even worse. So like if it's not working, what's the point? I mean, you're going and you're taking all this medication that also has side effects of being extremely exhausted and tired. And there for almost an entire month, it was like she was so tired. I mean, I was doing everything I possibly could for her with like cleaning and doing anything I could to make it so that way she's always taken very much like a lot of pride in the way her house looks and that it's clean and it's tidy and things like that. So trying to make everything as normal as possible for her, so that way, you know, she didn't feel guilty for not getting up. Not that it helped any. She still felt guilty that I was doing it for her, but I was like, oh my God, let me love you and like stop. Like, it's not a big deal. Let me do this for you. But it's like, it's hard watching a person that could run circles around you be so tired to not even be able to, like, just having a conversation was exhausting for her. And so it's just kind of frustrating because, like, all of this stuff, it's not working, and all of the side effects and stuff are more fatigue, which with AL amyloidosis, it causes extreme fatigue anyways. So it's like, so we're adding extreme fatigue on top of extreme fatigue on top of extreme fatigue on top of extreme fatigue. So it's like, what sort of quality of life is that? And it's not really doing anything. So what's the point? I guess I'm saying, like, why make yourself feel worse if it's not working? And I hate saying that because if I could keep her around forever, I would. But, I mean, at some point in time, I have to be realistic with myself, and that's not the case. So, yeah, so she's just, like, not feeling well. And, so that's pretty much the update on Grandma Joanne, and I was busy, like, we've already had, you know, dropped down into the freaking 30s. We've got frost a couple different times. Plants are pretty much done. I mean, I think only my roses are the only thing that's holding out anymore, other than my mom's. That's all. Well, I guess my Indian blankets back there are kind of holding out yet. So I need to go outside and cut down all my crap in my yard because I haven't done it. But I did do Grandma Joanne's and got that taken care of. And well, we got the back and the side yard. We had to do the front yard. But when she goes outside, what she mostly sees is her side yard and our backyard. So we always trying to make sure that we get that done the quickest. So that way, she's not worrying about and stressing over that part. But, pretty soon we're have to go and get I got all my garden statues up. We're gonna have to go and get all of her garden statues up. And then, you know, pack away my porch and pack away her patio and her front porch. And get everything ready for basically winter that's moving in, which is, winter is like the season that I hate the most. I hate being cold. But, you know, it's that time of year. That is that. And then, usually during the fall, I don't know, I always get a hankering for apple dumplings as soon as it starts getting chilly out. So I made 31 homemade apple dumplings. That means the crust is completely made from scratch. Everything is completely made from scratch because I'm insane. And I sent my husband with, I believe, 12 of them went to him to work. I took 4 up to my mom and dad. I took 2 over to Grandma Joanne because Grandma Joanne is losing quite a bit of weight. So, and she loves eating sugary things, and that stuff there is full of a bunch of fattening stuff. So, if I can make, you know, like, I might make an apple dapple cake soon, because for some reason it's not even my favorite cake, it's my husband's favorite cake, but I didn't make it last year, so I'm kind of, like, getting hungry for that, and it's not, like, a lot, but it's a bit of a labor-intensive cake to make. So I'm probably going to make that and probably, like, take over a good 2-3 slices to her. So that way, because again, it's, you know, all made from scratch and it's a pretty fattening cake. But yeah, so, and then I forget, I gave some to my son Anthony and my mother-in-law, sent them down some. And then the rest we had here. Between me, Raymond, and the girls, we ate the rest of them. So yeah, I just kind of been in, like, a baking mood recently, which is odd. Well, I mean, I guess it's not odd. It's that time of year. Like, there's not really, like, much. I'm not, you know, taking Vincent for 800. Well, I guess we still go for a walk, but I'm not taking him down to the park a couple times of the day or, you know, things like that. So just finding other little things that we can do inside to entertain each other. I ended up getting sick, and I don't even know why. Like, nobody else in my house was sick. And literally, I went absolutely nowhere that week or the week before. So I have no idea how I ended up with sick, which was like a weird cold. And it only lasted for 2 days. And I don't know where in the heck it came from. But because I got sick, I didn't go to Grandma I went to Grandma Joanne's that Friday. And then woke up. Who the hell is calling my husband right now? But I woke up Saturday morning at probably like 4 o'clock in the morning, just spewing out mucus left and right. And I was like, what the heck? And I thought, well, maybe it's just because it was dipping down into the 30s that night. And maybe that's what it was. Because, you try not to turn on the heat for as long as you can. And then, so I thought maybe it was just that. And then, like, Saturday, I was just spewing. So, because I was sick, I couldn't go to Grandma Joanne. And it ended up that was when Lindy Stitch's Harvest Moon Hangout was going on. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go with that. Because I didn't feel well enough to go and do anything else. So that's what I did. And then come Sunday, I think it was like halfway through Sunday, all of a sudden I wasn't sneezing anymore. I didn't need to blow my nose left and right. And then, like, was feeling like a lot better than what I think I was. And by Monday, like, I was completely fine. Ray, my husband Ray, went to the doctor's. He's been having tingling and numbness in his hands. And he went and had nerve testing done. And they found that he had severe carpal tunnel and something to do with the nerve or whatever that runs through your elbow is just like sort of moderate. So they're gonna try doing injections in his wrist first, but they went ahead and already scheduled him for in January for surgery on one wrist, and I think in February or March it's the other wrist. But basically, if the injections work, then they won't do the surgery, and we can just cancel it. But surgery is so far out that they wanted to go ahead and get him on the schedule just for that. And then Abby went down, and she didn't really have surgery, but she was put under for a test to have a scope stuck down her throat and into her stomach. She has been probably about 3 weeks after she had her knee surgery. She has been having really bad stomach pains, and then sometimes vomiting, struggling with eating, to the point that she lost, 23 pounds or whatever. And then she went and saw a pediatric GI doctor at Pittsburgh Children's Hospital. And they put her on a medication, and they weighed her, of course, before surgery, and she actually has gained back almost a full 10 pounds. I think it was like 8 pounds she's gained back since being on that new medication. Now, she's not, every once in a while, now she gets a little sick, but very not often anymore. Like, maybe like once or twice a month she'll do that instead of, 2 or 3 times a week. So, but what they did find was they didn't find any ulcers. They looked at her esophagus, her stomach, and her small intestine. And what they found was at the bottom of her esophagus, just a little bit up from where the stomach connects, were white dots in there. And that's, I guess, common for possible, the name just escaped me, for, what the heck is it called when the stomach acids come up into your gosh darn throat? Y'all are probably sitting there screaming at me, and I'm sitting here like, do. Whatever the heck that's called. Okay? Or she may be allergic to some sort of food. So they biopsied that, and they sent that out for testing to find out what the heck's going on with that. Then Tuesday, the 23rd of September, I'm like sitting here chilling out in my house, doing my normal Tuesday things, which is like, Abby had physical therapy, and then, but her physical therapy was at like 4 o'clock. So I had my son Anthony take her down to physical therapy because I also needed to get Lydia off of the bus at the same car stop. Like Lydia gets off the bus at like anywhere from 4:10 to 4:15 to 4:20, depending on like how fast everybody's there to pick up their kids off the bus and things like that. So like I couldn't be at 2 places at once. So I was like, I asked my son Anthony, do you want to sit at the house and wait for your little sister to get off the bus, or do you want to go and take Abby down to physical therapy? And he's like, I'll just do Abby down at physical therapy because Lydia gets home and then I have to help her do her homework and stuff like that. And he's like, I don't feel like doing that. So he did that. And so I'm sitting in my house and I set Abby down with my phone. So I'm sitting in my house, I'm like minding my own business, and my best friend Coral, how the heck did I talk to her? Because she called me. Oh, my tablet and stuff is all hooked up through, and I can call from my tablet. Because she called me through Facebook Messenger. So I'm talking to her on Facebook Messenger, and she's like, what in the world is going on around your house? And I'm like, what? I have no idea. Like, what do you mean what's going on around my house? And she's like, there's cop cars, fire trucks, ambulances. She's like, everywhere. She's like, this giant section of the road and everything is all blocked off. The fairgrounds are completely blocked off. She's like, yeah, like everything's like blocked off. Like, what is going on? And I'm like, I have no idea. I didn't even know anything was going on. And like, as I'm on the phone with her, I get a message through Facebook from my sister Christy, and she's also asking like, what's going on? And I'm like, I have no idea, you know, like talking to the both. And they're like, oh, well, call Sue, which is my mother-in-law, because she has a scanner and stuff, and she loves it when sirens and things are going on. She's always calling me, like, do you know what's going on? Sort of thing. Like, it's her excitement for the day. You know what I mean? And so I was like, all right. So I got off the phone with them, and I couldn't call my mother-in-law because I didn't have my cell phone. And then, like, I'm panicking because I wanted to call my son Anthony and tell him, like, you know, just like when you are done at physical therapy, just take Abby back to grandma, your and grandma's house, and like just stay there because I don't know what's going on, and I don't want you guys sort of driving through that because you have to drive through that in order to get to my house from physical therapy. I mean, you can drive around it, yes, but like it's too close for comfort for me, kind of thing. Like, I have no idea what's going on and what's happening. And then I find out that the police are having a standoff with some dude that's barricaded himself in his house. I'm like, wow, that's going on. And then literally the next day, in the paper, you could read, which our paper, you can read it online or you can get a subscription to the paper. I just read it online. Come to find out, this guy had a stinking rocket launcher and all kinds of crap. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, this is nuts. And so, but yeah, everybody was fine, and I couldn't get a hold of them. So, like, Anthony came here, and I made him come inside, and I'm like, I like locked the door because I didn't know if like they're like searching for somebody, you know, or like what's going on. And it's like, you guys need to get inside. I have no idea what's going on. Like, you need to be safe. And my son Anthony's like, Mom, I'm 26 years old. Like, leave me alone. And I'm like, I don't care how old you are. You are not running outside, and we have no idea what's going on. And but yeah, so that's the interesting stuff that's been happening with my life. I always appreciate when you guys come and hang out with me, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.